Welcome to the world of deep tech. In our previous video, we looked at partnership agreements for creation and evaluation of IP. This video continues from where we left off there and will refer to the terms explained in that video. Here, we look at one form of agreements that govern commercialization of advanced technologies, namely options. An option is a contractual equivalent of calling dibs and can be a standalone agreement or part of other agreements like the ones we saw in our previous video. It gives the holder of an option certain rights to acquire, evaluate, or lease an IP asset like a patent. Options are a great choice when the future direction of the technology is uncertain, but the parties want to protect their exclusivity without incurring a lot of cost or time. In our previous video, we discussed the difficulty in negotiating ownership and commercialization terms as part of collaboration agreement. One way to deal with those challenges is to include an option. Let's see how it works. An option can be structured to provide three different types of rights. The first one is a right to negotiate a full-fledged commercialization contract at the time of choosing by one party. In the case of a collaboration agreement we discussed in the last video, one party, say a spin-off, could give the corporate entering into a collaboration with it an option. This option could give the corporate an ability to negotiate a contract to commercialize the jointly developed IP within, say, 6 months of end of collaboration. The second type of option gives one party a right to require another party to negotiate the terms at the time of their choosing. So instead of the spin-off giving the option to the corporate in the example above, the corporate could choose the timing and require the spin-off to come to the table to negotiate the commercialization terms. The third type of option gives the holder a right to evaluate materials, products, or assets and negotiate a contract based on that evaluation. Going back to our previous video, we looked at material transfer agreements where the owner of the material claims ownership of the derivatives created by the recipient. This claim to ownership could be an option to evaluate new materials developed by the recipient to determine if the provider wants to acquire the rights to it. With rights comes responsibilities, of course. In the case of options, these responsibilities come in the form of payments at different times. The second responsibility is related to time. For example, the payments need to be made either at the time of entering into an option agreement or at the time of triggering the option. The act of triggering an option by either party is called excising the option. The option can also specify a limited period called excise period over which the option can be excised by the parties. The term over which the option contract is valid is another parameter to consider. It has an impact on its enforceability depending on the governing law and jurisdiction. Other responsibilities that are often part of the option agreement are related to the extent to which data pertaining to IP and results of the evaluation are shared between the parties before the option is exercised. It also includes restrictions on use of the information shared during that period. We discussed warranties when we discussed the general terms included in a contract in our previous video. Other terms that are subject to intense negotiations in option contracts are liabilities and indemnities. These may appear in options that combine evaluation and usage or as part of pro forma full-fledged agreements that become part of option contract. Liabilities relate to any damages incurred by the recipient of technology during its use. The negotiation is related to who bears the cost of these damages. The provider of the IP will try to limit these damages as part of the negotiations. Indemnity relates to protection against third-party claims on the recipient. For example, the recipient gets the technology from the provider and uses it. The third party could claim ownership of the same IP and take legal action against the recipient. Indemnity clauses protect the provider from these costs. Every option has a grantor or owner of the technology and grantee, the party wanting to take the option on the technology. Earlier, we saw that once the option contract is signed, one of these parties needs to initiate the exercise of the option within the exercise period specified in the contract. Depending on who initiates the exercise of the option, options can be classified into 4 broad categories. While the first 3 are initiated by the grantor, the last one is initiated by the grantee. Let's look at each of these in some detail. The first type of option is the right of first refusal. This kind of option is usually seen as part of contracts governing collaboration, contract research, or material transfer. The option is triggered when the grantor makes an offer to the grantee. If the grantee agrees, then the parties get down to negotiate and try to close the deal. If the grantee does not want to enter into negotiations or the negotiations fail, the grantor can offer the technology to third parties. If the offer is accepted and the negotiations are successful, grantor cannot accept it immediately. She has to take the terms back to the grantee and ask if they would like to match them. If they match them, then the grantor has to sign the deal with the grantee. This will of course sort the relationship between the grantor and the third party. Only when the grantee rejects it can the grantor accept the terms of the third party. To limit the potential damage from such clauses to the grantor, the right of first refusal are modified to give grantee an option to accept the terms before the negotiation with the third party reach the crucial final stages rather than wait till the end. Needless to say, this is a sticky situation for the grantor, and decision to grant this right has to be carefully evaluated. The next type of option is the right of first looks. This kind of option is also seen as part of contracts governing collaboration, contract research, or material transfer, but to a lesser extent. The option is triggered when the grantor makes an offer to the grantee, as we saw earlier. If the grantee agrees, then the parties get down to negotiation and try to close the deal. The key difference comes if the grantee does not want to enter into a negotiation or the negotiations fail. Here, the grantor can offer the technology to third parties. If the offer is accepted and the negotiations are successful, the grantor can accept it immediately and does not need to go back to the grantee. The next type of option is the pipeline agreement, which is usually put in place between the spin-off and the research lab where the technology was initially developed. The research lab and the principal investigator of the lab, who is typically also a co-founder of the spin-off, have the obligation to disclose future technology and IP developed in the lab to the spin-off during the duration of the pipeline agreement. Since the parent lab may be involved in different areas of research, not all related to the technology used by the spin-off, the definition of scope of pipeline becomes crucial. The spin-off will also have an obligation to commercialize the technologies it chooses to acquire. In addition, the pipeline agreement will usually carve out exceptions based on third-party funding of parent labs' research. And finally, the call option. This is typically a standalone option agreement between the grantor and grantee who may not necessarily have worked together earlier. This agreement will have a term, exercise period, and the time between the exercise date and final agreement date, the so-called agreement completion period, clearly specified. It will outline mechanics of how the option needs to be exercised, like say by sending a written letter with pre-agreed payment amount and the process to be followed between exercise and the agreement. Option will also specify payments to be made at the time of signing the option contract and when the option is exercised. It will also include a pro forma final agreement that outlines the key terms for acquiring the IP under option. Putting them all together, here are the overall characteristics of the option. And here are the different types of options and their features. Before you go, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel. Thank you.